Mariposa County, the home of Yosemite, is rich in history and exquisite beauty. It is a delightful little place full of warm, down-home people that welcome visitors from all over the world to come to see their backyard. The Mariposa County Visitors Bureau is privileged to be able to help you visit us through this program.
When we reach the verdant valley and the winding mountain stream, see great cliffs and waterfalls pass in review. Find the skies by day all sunny and at night bedecked with stars, then we know that we are in Yosemite. Here in Yosemite, fair nature's wondrous gem, our hearts o'erflow with peace and joy and love. Each day from dawn till dawn, only the merry song is ever heard here in Yosemite.
Boy, I don't know whether the camera is going to be able to pick up the beauty and the wonder of where we're standing right now. I sure hope so, because this is one of the most beautiful sights I have ever seen, even in Yosemite. We're up in the high country, and we're standing here in front of a place called Tuolumne Meadows. I'll introduce these two characters over here later. But here to officially greet us is Debbie Schweitzer from the National Park Service. Debbie, you're a little gimped up this morning. Even park rangers have accidents from time to time.
Yes, we do.
So you're on crutches this morning.
I'm on crutches this morning, but I still wanted to make sure that we came out to welcome you to Yosemite National Park and to welcome you to Tuolumne Meadows, which is one of the most beautiful places in the park. And Yosemite has a lot more to offer in this park than just the El Capitan and Half Domes in Yosemite Valley, though of course those are wonderful, beautiful things to see. We also have meadows and high countries, and what we're really realizing is that it's all very connected, and that everything that you see in Yosemite is somehow affected by something else in Yosemite. And the meadows are a really great example of that, because the water that you see in the rivers and the water that's coming down from the sky, everything interacts to create these meadows, and they're really something special and unique and fragile and very much a very important part of Yosemite, just like Half Dome is. Are you guys going to Glen Olin?
Yeah. Howdy. All right. You all ready for a big day today?
Yes, we are.
Boy, I tell you what, you're ready to go on a big hike.
We are. We're going to have one wonderful time.
Now, we're going out into the meadows. Have you done that yet?
I have been in the meadows. They're pretty wonderful too, and you'll see some great wildflowers.
But you all are going up. How far up are you all
We're not going up today. We're going flat and slightly down.
Wow.
5.2, I think.
5.2 miles. Well,
are you up to it? You coming with us?
No. I'm just stopping to say hello. We're going to head back in the other direction.
Well,
have a great morning.
Right. Bye-bye. Have fun.
Okay, so we're getting ready to head off on this journey. Debbie, I'm sorry you can't come with us, but this is going to be a morning full of... we're going to get excited, aren't we, by what we see?
There are so many great things to see here, and Tuolumne is one of the most beautiful places in the park, and one of my personal favorites, and I can't imagine not being excited about what we're going to see.
Now, is this a trail? Or an old road? What are we on right now?
This is an old road that was the original road up to Tuolumne Meadows and was used all the way through the 30s. Old Model Ts used to come up on it.
This road?
On this road, yes. And it was, this was one of the better parts of the road because it was a lot more rugged, but since that time there's been some plants growing back into the road, but it's very much impacted the meadow.
Now this is where we haven't introduced everybody yet. You are Michael Ross, you're a tour guide and a naturalist. You work here in the park all the time. You are...
I'm Jerry Edelbrock from the Yosemite Fund.
Now the Yosemite Fund works for restoration and rehabilitation of various things around Yosemite National Park.
That
it's
is
a
correct.
nonprofit.
That is correct. We're a nonprofit organization. We exist to help out the park, do projects up here in the meadows, and we just came across one of the projects that we would really like to work on, and that's a restoration of this old wagon road.
Now, when you say restoration, why is it important? What needs to be restored?
Well, you see there are multiple trails along here, and that's slightly raised above the level of the meadow. That makes a dam right across the middle of the meadow. They had to put these pipes in to keep the water from flowing through. And what we do is dig it out and restore it to either a boardwalk or a causeway, or we take the trail out of the meadow completely and put it around the outside of the edge.
See, most people, though, walking through here would go, this is great to have this through here. It gives you a nice path to walk on.
Well, that's true, it does, but what happens is that it tends to dry the meadow out, and that means all these young trees can come in. Normally you don't get trees in a wet meadow. It's just too damp. The trees won't grow.
Why does this dry the meadow out?
Well, this is like a dam. Like you see here, the normal flow of water would be...
It keeps the water from flowing through the whole meadow.
Right. But if you were to eliminate this dam, the whole meadow would flood again. The young trees would die out, and it would keep this nice open area.
I got you. Okay, now we've got plenty of water over here. What is this we're looking at, Michael?
This is the Tuolumne River, and is actually the water supply for the city of San Francisco. It eventually flows down into Hetch Hetchy Reservoir, and this is the source of water for Tuolumne Meadows. Wow. If we were here earlier in the season, early June, we'd see a lot of the meadows in the flood stage. There'd be water all over the place. Of course, the river's quite a bit smaller this season.
Boy, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Look out at this. This is crystal clear, cool water flowing down here.
Yes, and this is why the city of San Francisco wanted this water for their water supply, and they were able to persuade Congress after the earthquake that they should have some of Yosemite's water.
After the 1906 earthquake.
The big one, 1906 earthquake.
Now, is this the meadow? Is this what we're here to see?
Yeah.
And can we walk out through this, or do we have to stay on the trail?
In the meadows like this, which is a somewhat drier meadow in Yosemite, Park Service allows people to walk out in the meadow, but not to use it as a thoroughfare. So if we were, say, wanting to just cross it, it would be much better to stay on that trail. But to get out here and actually look at the plants, it's fine to just kind of meander around.
Now, so far, I don't see many plants. I see grass.
We got
and I see some little pine trees growing, but I don't see
a lot
much
of flowers
else
right now. We're a little past the flower season, though. We have one right here.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit of a... And
here's a little bit of a wildflower left
This is
here.
actually, this is a goldenrod, and you'd find this same flower all throughout the world. It's a flower that's in alpine areas.
Boy, this is so beautiful. Look out here. Looking at the mountains with
yeah,
the
we can
water.
see we've got some domes we're seeing out that way. That's Fairview Dome. It's really this type of landscape you see here with the domes and also the pointy peaks up that way is really unique in Yosemite, and it's a combination of caused by a combination of different type of rocks being worked on by glaciers.
Now, what is this you're doing?
I'm doing trying to imitate an alarm call of the Belding's ground squirrel, and they have an early warning system they use when there's a predator in the meadow. See, I'll get her to stand up again. She's one of the guardians for this colony that's out here.
Where's the colony?
It's all throughout these dry areas. You can see, actually.
Can we walk? How close can we
get? We can get a little bit closer. I'll see if she'll stay there. She's standing right by a hole, and if we get a little too close, she's going to dive right in there and disappear.
Oh, there she goes. All right, we're over here looking right down into the hole, so that little ground squirrel went right in there, and the meadows are home to these ground squirrels. They live in these little colonies. This little
Right.
brown spot right here is a colony.
Right, and these are relatives of prairie dogs, and they live in colonies, but the interesting thing about the colonies is that they're female colonies.
What do you
And-
mean they're female colonies?
Well, the men are only allowed to come in one day of the year to provide the service of mating with the females, and then
Wait
they're
a minute,
tossed
wait a minute. Let's walk over here to this. This is too good a story. These are colonies of female ground squirrel.
Right, and
How do we know that?
well, for about the past 25 years, there's been researchers working in the Yosemite area, actually tagging ground squirrels, and they know who each ground squirrel is, who their mother was, grandmother, so on, and they're keeping track of them. And that they found out fairly early on in the study was that the colonies were composed of females, and that the males were just allowed in when the females
One day?
when they're ready to mate.
So where do the males go when they're not
Well-
in here the one day of the year mating?
Certain areas of the meadow, like this one, are very good productive areas, and there are lots of greenery around for the females to graze on.
So they choose the best area.
They choose the best spots. The males are sent off to the areas where there's not as good food or not as good places to build burrows.
And then the females send out the word on
Yeah,
that one special day
Yep, they-
that it's okay for the men to come over,
Right.
mate for one day,
Right.
and then they're sent back to the other side of the tracks for another year.
They're out of there. And this time of year, there are young juveniles, males and females, that are in the colonies, and the males will be
Sent out.
sent out.
This is an amazing view back here now. The further we get away from them, you can really see them. What causes those peaks up there?
Well, what you had was fairly rounded peaks originally, and then as glaciers formed on the peaks, the glaciers carried rock away, just leaving points, which are called horns. And if we were here thousands of years ago, all you would see sticking out of the ice were those points.
That point way up on
That
the
point,
top,
which is Unicorn Peak, you just see that sticking out, and then Cathedral Peak.
and everything else would have been ice.
Right.
All the way up to the
All
peak.
the way up to the top, and it's so thin at the top. I was up there last year with my son. It's about the size of a picnic table on the top.
Well, it's a never-ending adventure because walking across the meadow, Michael, you spotted something, leaned over and put some of them in your hand, and this tells the human story of this meadow.
It tells a big story of this meadow. For thousands of years, there were Native American people come from the lowlands on the west and from the east on up to Tuolumne Meadows to trade for the stuff I have in my hand here, which is obsidian. And the Paiute people who lived over by Mono Lake would bring it up, trade for it with the Miwok people from the other side of the mountains.
So wait a minute, this does not naturally occur here.
No.
This was brought here
This was brought
by
here from-
Native Americans
from
coming up across
up
the
over
mountain.
the pass from the volcanic area. on
And
the
why
east.
is it in this area right
Well,
here?
you can imagine if you traded for a big chunk of obsidian, and then you were going to have to use it for arrowheads or spears. You didn't want to carry the chunk all the way across the mountains to home.
So they would have made the arrowheads right here.
So he worked on arrowheads, or worked on making like what would be like a blank. You'd make like a partially done arrowhead that you could finish off later.
Now see, this is the kind of stuff I love because you're thinking back, and literally on this spot, thousands of years ago, Native Americans would have been chipping away at this stone that had been brought in here
Right.
to make arrowheads and other implements.
For century after century.
And this is what's left over from the chipping.
This is what's left, and you look at this obsidian, you can see some of it looks very dull because it's been sitting here for centuries. Yeah.
And it's, you know what? I would have walked. Look at what Jerry has gotten just while we were talking here.
This must have been one of the places where they all sat, because there are thousands and thousands of flakes everywhere you look, these little black flakes.
Now see though, as a tourist and not someone schooled in this, I would have walked right over this. And in fact, that's probably one of the reasons why it's still here. People don't know what to look for, and of course we have to leave this
Right. It's one of the
here.
hard things where you've got a child with you that just gets really excited about this and they want to take it home, but you know they've got to leave it for some other child to see in the future.
Let's put it back
So we're just
where
gonna
the Native
scatter it.
Americans left it
Right.
thousands of years ago. Now we're walking across, and this is very interesting, what used to be, Michael, an old highway bridge.
Right.
Cars came across this.
Right. In the old days, the beginning of the last century, old Model Ts and other old cars came up here to the Meadows, and this was the main road in, and they had to cross the river right here, so there's a little bit wider bridge, and then they drive right across to the other side and just pull in anywhere and make a camp.
Well, this bridge was originally built as a highway bridge back in 1915, and Jerry, this is exactly the kind of project that the Yosemite Fund loves to get its teeth into, restoring bridges like this.
That's exactly right. We have people who contribute funds just for specific projects like this bridge. When it starts to deteriorate, can't handle the stock moving over it anymore, we even have a steel company that donates all the steel to put down underneath this board platform here.
What do you mean the stock moving over it?
The horses that are moving back and forth.
So it's got foot traffic, horse traffic.
Right.
There are no Model Ts still going over this.
No Model T's, a little too narrow right now too.
But originally this bridge was about 3 or 4 feet wider.
Right.
And there were Model Ts going right up and down this bridge.
There are actually sections on the Tioga Road where all there was 2 logs going across a stream, and you had to line your Model T up and go across them.
And look out here at this view. Boy, you know, there are no bad views up here. This is just spectacular with the water and the glacial peak off in the distance. Now we've come upon a part that is kind of a combination of man and nature.
Right, this is a natural soda springs, carbonated springs, where there's just bubbly water coming out of the ground, and it's really rich in iron, so that's good for you, and it's really rich in calcium, which is great for you. The only problem is it's questionable whether it's safe to drink because of people polluting the water.
So all of this white ground cover out here is calcium?
That's actually calcium, and then the red that you see is iron. And that's just coming up out of the ground with the spring water.
And this would have been used by the Native Americans in what way?
This was the main camping area for Native American people for thousands of years.
And how would they have used soda water?
They'd be drinking it. They just liked what it did for them. And of course, it's good for you. When you get up into the high country, you need to have more red blood cells, and so the iron's really good for that. And calcium is really good because you get a little bit of a soured stomach, and the calcium helps.
Wow.
And also the deer. The main reason they're hanging out here is the deer come in here because they need calcium to grow their antlers and also to produce milk for
now
their
we
young.
can get over and get close to it, can't we? Now we are at the actual soda spring itself, and how would the European Americans have used this? Why is this structure around it?
Well, it was spring water. It is unique because it's bubbly water, carbonated water. And at the time that pioneers started coming up here, and explorers, miners, and so on, there were lots and lots of sheep, other livestock, and you don't want them leaving their droppings in your nice spring water.
Would this have been a tourist attraction?
It was, yeah. Tourists coming through Tuolumne definitely
So
stopped
the Model
here.
Ts would have stopped here and had some soda water.
And then people, so it wasn't a day trip up here, so then you had all your stuff and you just picked somewhere out in the woods here and you parked your Model T and you camped for weeks.
And this is an example of something the Yosemite Fund is working to restore as well.
Exactly. You see the caution tape here. It's kind of held together with a little baling wire. It's falling apart. This is a project that we've approved and we've solicited donations for, and it's currently underway.
You're going to restore it to its grandeur.
Restore it to its grandeur.
And we just happened to run across some former locals who used to live around here, and you told us you actually came up and used this water.
Yes, you mix it with scotch and you have a lovely black drink.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, that's true. True?
Or if you're a child, they give you lemon and sugar. We had fizzy lemonade.
Really?
Really?
So you would bring a glass of scotch up here.
Actually, a bottle.
A bottle of scotch. You would pour it into the soda water right out of the spring here.
You just, pour the stuff in.
And it would turn black, and you would drink it.
Yes, and it was good.
For many generations.
For many generations. Another one of the many layers to the stories that go on here in the Meadows. This is a good place to bring your bottle of scotch and mix it with some soda water. Here comes a guy hiking up the trail. Tell us what you're doing out here in Yosemite, out here in the Meadows.
Just taking in all the beauty.
Yeah. Had you been to this part of the park before?
Not with my kids. I've been here many years ago when I was a kid, but it's kind of fun to share it with the generations.
Now see, you're kind of huffing and puffing a little bit.
Yeah, I am.
You think it's because of the elevation or because
no
it's
doubt.
been a couple of years since you've done something
It's
like
got to
this?
be the elevation.
Yeah. The kids are doing just fine.
Yep.
Mom is kind of lagging back in the back. Come on up. Tell us what you think about this.
Oh, it's incredible. It's just beautiful. This is my first time here, even though I've been in California for a long time.
First time to Yosemite or to the Tuolumne Meadows?
Tuolumne Meadows, I've been through Yosemite but barely touched it.
Yeah.
So I get to spend 3 or 4 days with my family and do some hiking and camping. And
Well, you can't get any better quality time than this.
no, I agree.
Having fun, kids?
Yeah.
They're not out of breath.
No, I know.
We are. Well, we're leaving Soda Springs to come up to what has to be one of the most beautiful places in the park. Obviously man-made, but this is a very historic building.
Yeah, this is one of the buildings that was built by the Sierra Club in the park. There's a couple of them, and the Sierra Club had a very important role in the beginning of the park. Of course, John Muir was the founder, and one of the aspects of the Sierra Club that still exists is having outings, and people would come up here, and they would often start their outings right here from Parsons Lodge.
When was this built?
This was built at the beginning of the 1900s. I think construction began around 1914.
Wow, right out here in the middle of nowhere back then.
And actually, what's interesting is this was private land, homesteaded land, that the Sierra Club bought. So this was actually the Sierra Club's land until the early 1970s.
Can we go inside?
Of course.
Let's go inside. This is a beautiful building. And here to greet us inside the Parsons Lodge is, now are you from the Sierra Club?
No. I represent the Yosemite Association. We keep the lodge open during the summer.
Okay, well tell us about this. I understand it was built by the Sierra Club back in
1915.
And what was it built for?
Well, it was built as a meeting place. They never slept in here, but it was built to be a meeting place and where you could come and reflect, just enjoy being in the outdoors with a little protection.
So it would have been like a community hall where the campers who were all camped outside would have come at night? Would there have been a fire in the fireplace?
Yes, look at that fireplace. It's a marvelous fireplace. It
Now,
holds...
wasn't this designed by a famous San Francisco architect?
This was designed by Bernard Baybeck, and who designed this. It used to be thought that it was just his firm, but there's been research done, and now we say, yes, it's a Bernard Baybeck building.
So architecturally, this is an interesting place. Historically, this is an interesting place.
And look at what it's made of. These just lodgepole pine trunks and the native stone. It's
Now, are these original?
Yes.
Isn't this amazing that it has survived all these years?
Yeah. Well, it's needed repair now and then. The windows are new. You'll notice up in the beams, you can see places where logs have been pushed in to keep the roof intact during the winter. When we close it down, it can't be kept open once the snow starts.
It's still kind of a haven. Here, the family we met earlier today, it's still kind of a haven for people to kind of come in.
Oh, it's wonderful. And I'll tell you that when there's really, really severe storms, about 3 years ago, we had such a severe storm that the backpackers were running, trying to take shelter. We did put them in here. In the morning, we had people sleeping all over the place, a fire in the fireplace, socks all over the place, and Linda Estes, who is our volunteer up in the Estes in the Macaulay cabin, had donated socks and all these drenched backpackers. So it's still a valuable building for that
So see,
purpose.
the Sierra Club knew what they were doing when they built this.
They certainly did.
Now, we can't leave without talking about the door over here.
Yes, the
because,
door.
boy, this is really something to see. This is the original door.
It is indeed. And I want you to notice right here, these are bear claw marks. The bear trying to get into the building.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, my question was always, why is this hard metal plate put on the outside of the door and not on the inside? But apparently it was so that if people were staying inside and the bear did try to get in, which I gather he did, this would keep him out.
Can you imagine being in here and hearing a bear clawing at this door?
I'd rather be in here than in a tent, I'll tell you.
This is another example of one of those little known facts. These are bear claw prints
exactly
in the door. From who knows when, who knows where, but it's part of the history of this lodge.
It is indeed.
Well, that's the end of our adventure. We have only been here a couple of hours, and we have seen so much here at Tuolumne Meadows.
And there's so much to see in a place like Tuolumne. You could spend summer after summer and still be learning something. And the most important things to learn are how we can take care of this place for future generations.
Well, this is very accessible. We haven't done anything on this journey, this adventure, that was strenuous. This is very accessible for people to get out and walk and just enjoy the wonder of this open meadow.
Yes, it's very easy. You just have to make sure that you get a little bit adjusted after several days to the elevation.
Bring your sunscreen and your water bottles, and bring an open heart.
Yes.
Because this place fills your heart with its beauty, with its history, and the fact that thanks to people who had vision in those early days, it has been preserved for all of us to continue to enjoy into the future.
Exactly.
Let's just end by walking out of the picture and taking a nice long look at where we've been in this beautiful place called Tuolumne Meadows here in Yosemite National Park. We've had an absolutely glorious day.